Hello, and here we are in the great lunar eclipses energy. Lunar eclipses shadow. Wow. I'd love to hear in the comments how this particular lunar season or eclipse season has been. It has been so extreme and so intense and in your face, or at least that's been my perspective. So I'd love to hear what it's been like for you. And although it has been extremely intense, there's been a lot of reward in it too. That deep scorpionic transformation that happens when we completely dissolve, when we die, dissolve, and enter that space of the unknown, which is also a space of infinite possibility. So I feel the goodness of that alongside with the strife and the struggle and the challenge, and the emotions. Man, like the last 2 days for me, my emotions have been extra tender. So let me know how y'all are doing. And if you haven't yet, if you're new to these readings, I'll be using some oracle cards for us to tune into what this particular lunar cycle, this lunar eclipse represents for the collective as well for the personal, and ways that maybe you can work with it, things to be aware of, archetypes and themes. So let's see if there's anything else. Just feels very big. This just feels like a really important time in history. And I can't quite put my finger on it, but I do feel kind of like this swelling that has happened for quite some time now, energetic swelling, and it feels like there's almost like an eruption on the horizon. So for whatever that means, I couldn't tell you exactly what that would look like in practical terms. I can only share the way that I am internally experiencing it. So let's dive in. So first I want to start to focus on the collective themes and then follow it with some of the personal themes. Our first collective card is about freedom. It says, if you want to gain your spiritual freedom in this life and experience the alchemical marriage of your soul with your God self through the process of your ascension, there is no better time than now. And I feel that's a very obvious thing to say, and this was kind of coming in yesterday when I was closing out from teaching a Reiki course. We shouldn't underestimate the echo and the impact of the decisions that we make right now, especially here in these next 72 hours. This time is going to dramatically impact our lives and what we do as a whole, what we do as units, what we do as families and communities and systems is going to create reverberations for a very long time. That is something that I can feel within me. So the personal card that's going along with this is take time to review your life and know why you are here and where you are going. Take time to create a spiritual plan for yourself. You will never regret it. And this feels so much in alignment with this last card. As many of you have experienced the chaos during eclipses, it makes it difficult to be in your center. It's like getting caught in the rotation of a tornado. So with the lunar eclipse, full moons always being the natural cycle of release, completion, and letting go, because this is an eclipse that's going to impact us deeply, we should definitely be in review. We should definitely really just pull back from all of the busy and the crazy and the fire and the distortions, and get still enough in these next few days, every day really, but and just take that inventory. Where is my life going? Is it going in the direction that I want it to? And if not, how do I change that trajectory right here and now? How do I change my behaviors, my thought patterns? Can I address my emotions right now? This is a gift from the full moon of bringing the emotions to light. Becoming more emotional, it's just the expansion of what's already there. It draws out on the emotional field. So it allows us access to stuff that we've been pushing down. It's an incredible gift, the way that the moon pulls on the tides of our emotions. So tell me more. Tell me more. Judgments. Balance. And self-esteem. Okay. I feel like self-esteem was in our last. Yeah, it was in the solar eclipse, the opening portal for this eclipse season. We're going to come back to that. So judgment, balance, and self-esteem. I understand that everyone has their own unique path and challenges. And I watched in myself this evolution that has happened over the years of releasing judgment, of what that actually looked like. And I had an opportunity to really see how far I've come in that, to not jump to conclusions or assumptions about myself, about the world around me, and be willing to drop into my heart and be open to all perspectives and welcoming the eyes of love. Just releasing any need to condemn or judge. And it's a program that runs in all of us. It's ingrained deeply into our human being. But over time, as we maintain balance, as we work on finding harmony in every situation that we're thrown, we work on eroding the behaviors and reactions that take us so far out of alignment that contribute to the suffering that's already there. That judgment starts to wither in a way when we're conscious of that, when we're consciously working with being neutral. We want to be the eye of the storm. So a little bit more about the judgment card here. We are all spirit. We are all the same. It's only the roles we have chosen to play here on earth that make us seem different. The biggest lesson you have chosen to learn is to love. There are so many situations in this physical dimension that it is possible to incarnate into, but the core lesson is to look past illusions and see yourself in everyone. Each soul has chosen its own struggles, and your task is not to judge how someone goes about overcoming these obstacles, but to assist that soul. Spirit has given you the tools of compassion and empathy to help you see through the eyes of those who appear different. Your ego has taught you that making other people feel insignificant or inferior or wrong will allow you to feel better about yourself. And that is an illusion. By diminishing others, you diminish yourself. And that really eloquently described in many ways the point that I was making about seeing through the eyes of love, about not jumping to conclusions or judgments, and just kind of watching that part of you that has the tendency to do that and to draw back and to see them as just another soul that is walking their incarnation, walking it perfectly according to the intelligence of the universe and the intelligence of the soul. The soul knows exactly what it's doing, even when the personality doesn't. It's all a very intricate and perfect design. And while this is my belief, my understanding, and my experience, there is an infinite wisdom that allows us to incarnate. Our soul has a perfected plan to encounter certain people and situations and struggles and challenges so that the consciousness can transform and liberate higher and higher each incarnation. It can be liberated from the world of Maya or illusion or the eighth sphere, this what we might call the matrix, what we might call the middle world. So when we bring balance in, so balance is sitting right here in between the judgment and the self-esteem card. And one of the last things it said in the judgment is, when you judge someone else, or let's see what exactly it said. It said that by diminishing others, you diminish yourself. So judgment and self-esteem could be tied together here. The more that we remove ourselves from the activity of judgment, the greater self-esteem we start to build. The more that we're able to grant ourselves grace, to grant ourselves permission to be human, and to do that for others as well. There's like a foundation that's created of the soul in the body, so that the personality is no longer always running the activity of the mind, but you start to lean back into the soul and see from the soul, which is just another way of describing what I was saying earlier. Rather than my personality making its judgments and its thoughts and opinions, the soul, you choose. It's a choice. It's a choice to see through all of these divine qualities, and that is building the foundation of your soul in the body. That is bringing heaven to earth. In our balance card, I bring a state of perfect harmony into my world, and I do so without judgment. I didn't even see this part here. I do so without judgment. So the key being releasing judgment. This seems so huge right now. Yes. So we have the luminous warrior. I'm really trying here. The luminous warrior and the owl. It's almost like I get this sense of there being this call right now, this call on our spirit to rise up. We're in spiritual warfare, and this feels like a turning point that we can take advantage of. But it's only through the personal evolution. It's only through personal ascension. It's only through truth, through grace, through mercy, love. It's the only way. The luminous warrior has no enemies in this world or the next. He is impeccable in word and deed. He focuses on his light rather than on what hides in the dark. Since he casts no shadow, he is radiant as the sun, and can transform his most terrible enemy into his ally. His power comes not from the sword, but from speaking his truth at all costs. And this is a really hard one. This is one that's showing up for me is how do you, sometimes it's necessary to rock the boat, and sometimes there's information, there's truth to be shared, to be spoken, and it will cause upset. But what would it cost if you didn't? The luminous warrior reminds you it is important to focus on your power, wisdom, and beauty. Do not be seduced by what seems wrong with you or with the world. Remember that intention follows attention, so focus on your positive traits. Feed your light with more light until you feel truly empowered. Then there will be little need for action as you resolve all situations from within. And some of the questions here that you can ask are you being tempted by your emotions to follow your lower instincts? Are you being invited to enter into a quarrel with someone? Put your sword away. This is not the time for battle. Your enemy is not who you think it is. Do not act from a place of anger that will damage your relationships and hurt the ones you care for. Find the truth hiding in your heart that will affirm your instinct for peace rather than war. And following that, the owl. Owl is the master of the night. She can see situations with perfect clarity, more so when it is dark, and is able to discern truth when others are sightless. She helps you find your light and your lightness in the darkest moments of your life, and to embrace the night as your ally. Owl can bring you messages from the invisible world. She opens your ears so that you may hear the voices of the ancestors, and you may acquire their wisdom and make it your own. Look around you and notice every detail. Find the hidden messages brought to you by Owl. Do not shoot the messenger. Be grateful to the friend who shows you what you have not wanted to see until now. Observe all the facets of the diamond without judgment. Remember that the facets you dislike are often mirrors of the parts of you that you do not want to recognize. Do not be afraid of the truth, as it will become your compass. Owl guards against self-deception and insists that your motives be pure and transparent to all. What is the message that you are not hearing? The situation you are not seeing with clarity? Owl invites you to wait patiently. Bide your time until the right time to act. Then do so decisively with no hesitation or remorse. I'm gonna be honest, this is a pretty intense reading. I'd be curious to know how all of this is hitting you as you receive it. The contrast between the luminous warrior and the owl, this light and dark, of like really taking our light into the dark. And metaphorically, this is what we do in winter. We consolidate our resources and we take the light inside to keep us warm, to be able to see, to be able to transform through the winter, through the dark period. Judgment has been indicated more than once in these cards, and I want to go just a little bit deeper with that one and see if we can get maybe some more action cards. So one of those first cards is manifestation, calling us to use our spiritual gifts and natural abilities to attract what we want. And as I was praying last night and praying this morning, I was feeling it work. I was feeling the activation of the spirit transforming and co-creating. My heart was open. I was at peace, and love was just flowing. And that seems like that key element there with balance is, how do we come back and find our peace, and then be conscious enough when we hit the snags of life, when we hit all of those opportunities that present as challenges, how do we choose to come back to that, or choose love, or choose non-judgment, choose non-attachment? So how do we do that? There's many tools that work for different people. Breathing is something that can work for everyone. It's easily accessible. It's always there. The ear chakras also are coming into play here, and that was indicated with the owl as well. What messages are we not hearing? What are we not seeing with clarity? And to just be aware of the other ways to be aware of the ways that the messages have always been delivered to you. And maybe this is a period where we're going to see heightened synchronicities. One of the things that has been quite auspicious for, I guess it's been about 3 weeks, is so many angel numbers. I've seen concentric numbers pretty consistently. The 22s, the 44s, the 33s, all of them. And that's just one way that we're receiving information, we're receiving messages. Someone was asking yesterday about the ear ringing. That's another way we're receiving messages. But the music that plays on the radio, or standing in line at the grocery store and happening to hear what someone else is saying. There's messages in everything. Or let me back up. There can be messages in everything. Billboards that you pass, church signs that you see, feelings that are evoked by certain things. And so the more that we can prioritize finding balance, spiritual care, finding stillness, to listen to yourself, you start to develop the skills to witness the unconscious behaviors and judgments of the mind that keep us in the loop of suffering and contribute to the suffering and chaos of the world. I'm going to draw one more card. It says, beyond is infinite in all directions. And that reminds me of this transformation that happens when we let go, when we let something completely go, when we let it die, when it goes through its whole process of decay and breaks down and is completely transformed into what's like this void where all things are possible. No limitations, no bounds. And seeking that place, this is also a place of peace. This is one way many connect with God, connect with Source, connect with their infinite, eternal soul, their timelessness. So just to recap, emotions are extremely high right now. Choose to consciously look at your life and the trajectory of your life path. Listen to yourself, listen to your reactions and your responses. Listen to how you feel about the direction that your life is going. Listen to yourself about the prompts that you may be getting to let something die, to let something go, to trust and have faith. Trust and faith only come from stepping into the unknown, to being okay with the uncertain, to having faith that everything is always working for your highest good. The universe is conspiring in your favor, in everyone's favor. And the more that you choose that perspective, you will manifest more of these magical synchronistic experiences. You will want to create more space for the practices that let you hone in on your listening skills, that develop these skills that allow you to be awake in your daily life, to actively choose and not be subject to circumstance or your own volitions of your mind and emotions. Judgment may play a theme with this eclipse of looking at where we harshly judge, what that judgment is, and how to find grace, how to pour that grace in and recover our self-esteem from knowing that we are perfect. We are not born with original sin. We were created perfectly, and this is a whole design that ultimately leads us all back home. Seek your light and take your light into the dark. Feed your light and let your light bring awareness to your darkness. And don't judge the darkness. Just love it. I continue to go back to the words of Yeshua. If I didn't come here to teach you, I came here to love you, and love will teach you. Thank you all for joining, and I really appreciate hearing about where you're at in this crazy, crazy, beautiful time in our lives. And if you haven't already, please hit subscribe, hit like. It really helps with the algorithms for other people to be notified and receive this information. I'm sending you all so much love and waves of support and guidance and higher intuition and grace as we move through this winter. And until we meet again, stay pure and keep it simple.